Pacific Ridge, we are focused on copper gold projects in BC. Our goal is to become BC's leading copper gold exploration company. We pivoted a number of years ago in January 2020. Historically, we've been focused on gold projects in the Yukon. And believe it or not, Pacific Ridge is actually one of the oldest companies listed on the venture. It was founded by one of my mentors, John Brock, in 1979. Long history in the Yukon. We pivoted to copper gold in BC in 2020 with the acquisition of Kliyul and Redton from Centerra. We didn't drill it that first year. We completed a deeper penetrating IP survey. Last year was our first ever drill program at Kliyul. And since that time, we've acquired a number of other copper gold projects. So we feel this is a great environment for copper gold porphyries in BC. They've been very much unloved this past decade, but with increased political, social risk in South America, obviously with the electrification of society, we're seeing a big increase in demand for copper, and also BC, which is considered a safe and probably underexplored region. Forward-looking statements, I will be making many. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. There we go. Why Pacific Ridge? I mentioned that we've come a long way. When we pivoted to the copper gold projects in BC, we had a market cap of about 1.5 million, trading at 5 cents. I took over as president and CEO in January last year. And in that time, we've strengthened our board. We made additional acquisitions. We completed our first ever drill program. And we saw our share price go from 5 cents at the beginning of the year to 41 cents at the end of the year, a market cap of 1.7 million to a market cap of 21 million. So significant increases, and this is largely based on the strengthening of our management board and obviously strong exploration success from Kliyul. As I mentioned, it was our first ever program. We only completed 3 holes, but you can see the sort of numbers we're talking about, over 300 meters of 0.75 copper equivalent. This is mineralization starting at surface. It's ending in mineralization. Kliyul is a relatively underexplored project. It was first drilled in 1974, but its porphyry potential wasn't identified until 2006. When we acquired this in 2020, it had only seen 6 deeper holes into the porphyry system. We've only drilled 3 more. So there's only 9 deeper holes into this porphyry system, but it's returned on average better grades than what we might be seeing from similar deposits and mines in BC, and I'll talk a little bit more about that too. We just closed a $7.4 million financing, strong funded institutional ownership, over 30%, and we also just optioned out one of our other projects, RDP, to Antofagasta. So we'll be mobilizing into Kliyul next month, mid-June, with 2 drill rigs. I expect drilling should be underway by the end of June, beginning July. And in addition, Antofagasta will be funding a 1,500-meter drill program. So it's going to be a very busy year for us. It's going to be the largest campaign ever conducted at Kliyul, and it'll be our busiest year, probably since the 80s. And obviously a number of reasons why we're seeing this increase in activity in BC. I sort of touched upon, increased political social risk in South America, the increase in demand for copper, and we haven't seen a lot of activity in BC. So a lot of the seniors now are starting to look at BC again and are attracted by what they're seeing. And I expect to see a lot more deals, a lot more activity in BC moving forward. Management and board, I'm not going to bore you to tears there. But I think for a company of our size, we've put together a very strong technical team. We have a technical committee that meets on almost a monthly basis. It's comprised of porphyry experts, geophysical experts. I have confidence that whenever an exploration plan is put forward, that really all I need to do is give it the thumbs up and get the money required so we can get to work. After that last raise, share structure is still in pretty good shape, about 80 million shares. As I mentioned, funds and institutions, about 31%. Our 2 biggest shareholders are Crescat out of Denver and Delphi, a German fund, and then a smattering of smaller funds and institutions. 52-week high low 10 cents, high 58. Today we're trading, about 35, 36 cents, which gives us a market cap of about 28 million. I would hope that as we start moving towards mobilization and drilling starting at Kliyul and also RDP, we should continue to see positive momentum moving forward. And obviously, if we can continue to report the results, similar to results as what we had last year at Kliyul, I expect that we should continue to see positive momentum moving forward. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're trying to achieve at Kliyul this year. We're in the Quesnel Trough. This is a prolific porphyry belt. We're about 350 kilometers north of Prince George. And this Quesnel terrain goes all the way to the U.S. border. So Kodiak Copper's at the southern end. We're towards the northern end. Our Kliyul, our flagship, is just about 50 clicks south of Centerra's Chemist. And RDP is about 40 clicks to the west of Kliyul. So when we set up camp this year at Kliyul, we'll be supporting the RDP program that Antofagasta will be funding. So there's a lot of synergies. That was one of the reasons we liked RDP to begin with, but it's also returned some very good numbers. Redton was a package deal with Kliyul, and I think it's important to point out that we're earning up to a 75% interest in that project from Centerra. We have to spend $7.5 million on exploration. We should be there this year. We've already spent $2.5 million, and we've budgeted $5.3 million for that drill program at Kliyul. So at the end of this year, we should be at our 75% mark for both Kliyul and Redton. We just optioned Chuchi from Centerra. We will be doing some ZTEM over that project this year. We recently acquired Onho from Origin earlier this year. So in a short period of time, we've put together what I consider a very strong portfolio of copper gold projects in BC. The sort of portfolio that's going to become increasingly attractive to senior gold or copper companies that are looking for exposure to porphyries in BC. That's what I'm trying to build here. Kliyul, it's one of the issues in Canada, obviously, in particular in northwestern BC, is infrastructure. Everywhere, I think infrastructure is a potential issue. We're pretty lucky here. The Kliyul main zone is just 5 kilometers off the Ominika Mining Road and Power that serves Chemist to the north. So what we do right now, we drive up from Prince George, we stage at Johansson Lake, then we're taking a helicopter up to the Kliyul main zone where we set up camp. And it's a pretty short hop, about a five-minute helicopter ride. I think the hopes would be that if we continue to have exploration success at Kliyul, we'd look to drive in a road, which would then extend our exploration season and reduce our costs related to helicopters, which is a big cost when you're conducting exploration in this part of the world. Kliyul, lots of reasons why we liked it. We felt geologically similar to a lot of these other deposits and mines in BC. I talked a little bit about some of those historic results. Last year, just prior to drilling this project, I always said to people, listen, I'd be very happy to return similar widths and grades as what we've seen historically, but the results from our first 3 holes last year were far better. They were longer, they were higher grade, and the market responded. So what we're looking to do this year, it was a limited program last year. I believe we have the grades, and I do have a slide that will show you how it compares to these other deposits and mines that we highlight here. I believe it has the grades. Now we need to demonstrate it has the size potential. So we're not going to get close to completing enough drilling to get to a resource this year. We just need to indicate that it has the size. I talked about the grades, so we can look at some of these other deposits and mines that we think this style of mineralization is comparable to. So the copper, it's fine. It compares, relatively the same, but it has far higher gold value. So overall, we have a higher copper equivalent or a higher gold equivalent. That gives me the confidence because it is starting at surface, ending in mineralization, it has the grades, but can we demonstrate the size? And that's how we do it this year. So with that recent raise, we're looking to drill 6,000 meters, biggest campaign to be ever conducted at Kliyul. Most of the drilling historically has been focused on the Kliyul main zone. When we first acquired this in 2020, we did complete a deeper penetrating IP survey, which showed to us that the Kliyul main zone was open, and also identified 2 adjacent targets that have never been tested before. So if we're looking to complete about 6,000 meters this year, I'd say you'd see about, 12 holes, 500 meters a hole. You're probably going to see about 8 holes in the Kliyul main zone itself, perhaps a hole or 2 each at Kliyul West, Kliyul East. Now, if we can have success and hit at Kliyul West, Kliyul East, now we're talking about something that has a 1.5 kilometer strike length. That has the size potential. And in addition to Kliyul, the Kliyul main zone, porphyries do tend to occur in clusters. So we have a 4 kilometer mineralized trend here, and the Kliyul main zone is just one interpreted porphyry center. So we'll be doing some additional work looking to identify other targets this year. We will be doing some IP at Bap Ridge, and if we like what we see, we'll reserve some meters for that program also. I really have run out of time here. RDP, I'll just say that's a great bolt-on. We acquired that last year, And I think it speaks to the fact that what I was talking about earlier as far as these other senior copper miners looking for projects in BC, we have optioned this out to Antofagasta, which is one of the world's largest copper miners, and they are funding a 1,500-meter drill program this year. So really, it's going to be a very busy year for us, and it's going to be starting up next month, 6,000-meter program at Kliyul. Then we'll move one of those drill rigs over to RDP for a partner-funded drill program. And if we can continue to return similar results as we did last year in demonstrating that Kliyul has the size, well, I think we can see similar returns as what we did last year. Thank you.